It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. I'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center, here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Folks, what a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Harry on the target for the left hand. Right hand from my buddy, double jab. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
80 seconds remaining.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top.
Hello and welcome to a Wednesday live right here on the early line on SportsGrid and all across the SportsGrid network. That includes sportsgrid.com/watch, where you can find your favorite destination to consume everything all across the grid. He is Donnie right side. I am Ben Stevens. We are here together for the next 3 hours up until 11 a.m. Eastern time. A full Tuesday slate around Major League Baseball. Less than 40 games left for all 30 MLB teams in the stretch run of the long 162-game season. Playoff positioning front and center in a jam-packed Major League Baseball as we look at the top of the standings. We are 1 day away from the start of the final weekend of the NFL preseason before we enter game week and regular season preparations. And, of course, the days get shorter. 4 days away until the start of the college football season in 2024 and the Irish opener between Florida State and Georgia Tech. A further breakdown and preview on this Wednesday. DRS 3 hours live until 11 a.m. Eastern time here on the grid.
The days are getting shorter. Just a couple months ago, month and a half ago, days at 8:20, 8:30 at night, sunset. Now we're down to about 7:45. Before you know it, days kicks in, and that means football season is in high gear. But we don't want to rush anything because week 0 here should be celebrated as the beginning of a long and profitable, hopefully, college football season. But we can't wait for it here. A nice little Saturday. You got a game early in the day that we're going to root on over in Dublin. You got a game at night that might see points with SMU. So we got some things here to get ready for the appetizer that is week 0.
Donnie right side, I'm not sure what the weather was like early this morning when you were out taking the dogs for a walk down in South Jersey, but there felt like a fall crisp in the air. It feels like football, and football is nearing a return. So is October baseball. That's postseason baseball around MLB. In every game now significant for the standings. Divisional races and the chase for the top spot to have home field advantage and earn a bye throughout the Major League Baseball postseason. That is the story this week up in the Bronx between the New York Yankees and the Cleveland Guardians. The Yanks entered yesterday with a half-game lead in the American League East, a half-game advantage over the Guardians as well for the best record in all of the AL. That has changed after the longest game of the 2024 MLB season. 4 hours and 5 minutes and 12 innings as the Guardians go into Yankee Stadium and pull off a slight upset with a 9-5 victory in 12 innings. Cleveland scored 6 runs in the 12th. We were tied at 3 entering extras and into that 12th inning. David Fry, a bases clearing 3 RBI triple in that 12th inning, propelling the Guardians to the 6-run 12th and a victory over the Yanks to start off this midweek series.
One of those games, if you said to yourself, I like the under here, you got 6 total runs through 9 innings, you nailed that, and you came up with a loss, and quite frankly, a blowout loss at 9-5 if you're sitting that direction. But also, let's focus here on the important parts of this game. Matthew Boyd, not a lot of innings pitched this year, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 3 earned runs to keep you in that ball game. Luis Gil, come on now. We need these wins each and every night, or at least solid performances. 3 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, but 6 walks in that environment and 1 home run given up. That's not good enough here. But the Yankees did have their chances in this game, weren't able to go. How about this, Ben? If I would have told you, 1 of 16 with runners in scoring position for the Yankees, that's a trophy.
Yeah. And it really got started in a huge way in the home half of the first. Juan Soto and Aaron Judge went back-to-back, courtesy of the long ball. But everything from there was a struggle offensively until the 12th inning, really, when Cleveland opened it up. Our guy, Luis, don't call him heel, leaves the game in the 4th due to back tightness. He had allowed 3 earned runs in 3 innings. It was a pitcher's duel on paper. It was a pitcher's duel in actuality yesterday in Atlanta. Reynaldo Lopez making his first appearance since the end of July against Zach Wheeler and the Philadelphia Phillies. And Lopez outdueled Wheeler. Zach, not bad, 2 earned over 6 innings, but Reynaldo Lopez better. 1 earned run given up in 5 innings of work, striking out 10 as the Braves win the opener against their divisional mate 3-1 at home over Philadelphia.
I mean, it's pretty simple, and I understand how good a pitcher Zach Wheeler is, right? But if we are looking at what makes the most sense, the Philadelphia Phillies lineup here is an all-star lineup, high-paid and healthy. They got 1 run and struck out 10 times. You have basically a triple-A lineup outside of Ozuna and Olsen. And quite frankly, Olsen only hitting .228 this year, not great. Ozuna has been wonderful. What do? Tie game, pitch to him, solo home run, give yourself the lead. Away you go with the 3-1 victory here. This, as a Phillies fan, it's painful to watch, knowing the Phillies probably should be up 14 to 15 games over the Atlanta Braves at this point right here. But the fact that they're not getting pressed here, they're showing up with efforts like you saw last night. Zach's on the mound, should be an easy victory. Not if you score 1 run. Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Bohm, Castellanos, Stott, Realmuto, March, and Rojas. That should be at least 4 to 5 runs every single night. 1 run? That's unacceptable.
It was the second of 2 earned runs given up from Zach Wheeler. Marcell Ozuna going deep in the bottom of the 6th, 432 feet. That was the game-winning run for Atlanta. They take the opener against the Phils. They have won 3 straight. The San Diego Padres remain red hot following the All-Star break yesterday, clawing their way back against Minnesota. The Twins had an early 3-1 lead. Then Manny Machado hit a 2-run shot in the home half of the 7th. Minnesota took another lead courtesy of Christian Vasquez and a 2 RBI single. And then in the home half of the 8th, Jurickson Profar, a 3-run home run, propels the Padres to a 2nd consecutive victory over Minnesota. 30 games for San Diego since the All-Star break. The Padres, with a 7-5 win yesterday over the Twins, have won 22 of those 30 since the All-Star break in the middle of July.
Yeah, got those late shots, too. If you're looking for an under in that game, it was cruising in that condition. But bottom of the 7th inning, 2 runs scored here, then 6 total runs scored in the 8th inning. But the Padres, you're right, just didn't give up. This is a team you're going to want to watch out for, playing great baseball. Can they extend this now into the month of September? 72-55, looking every bit the part of a legitimate challenger in the National League.
Yeah, very much so. The Dodgers win against the Mariners. The Diamondbacks win as well. The entirety of the National League West stays red hot at this moment. Speaking of those Dodgers, they rally late to beat the Mariners. The M's opened up a 3-0 lead. Gavin Lux and Max Muncy both hit a home run in the same inning, the home half of the 4th. And then Jason Hayward, a 3-run homer in the pinch hitting spot in the home half of the 8th. The Dodgers have taken both of the first 2 games against Seattle at home in the Ravine. 6-3 the win yesterday.
Really made Miller work on the mound here for the Mariners. 4 innings pitched, only 2 earned runs given up. Why did he come out of the game? 92 pitches before he even got to the 5th inning. Walker Buehler still struggling as well, trying to find his way back. 4 innings pitched and 3 earned runs, but that lineup came up big for the Dodgers late. That's what they do, 72-52. Feels like a little rhythm here out there in the NOS with everybody stacked up on top of each other.
LA has won 8 of its last 11 games. Triple header last night in the WNBA. The New York Liberty win big at home. The WNBA's best, 13-1 in Brooklyn this year, 24-4. They win 94-74. And then in the first WNBA game ever played in Boston inside TD Garden, we told you to keep an eye on the defense for the Connecticut Sun. They win a low-scoring game, 69-61, in front of a sellout crowd inside TD Garden.
Favorites across the board as we take a look at the Sun, the Liberty, and also the Storm handling their business yesterday as we come down the stretch, also in the WNBA. But no surprise in the Liberty with that blowout over the Wings.
Seattle wins by 6 on the road in the nation's capital. The Mystics do cover as a 7-point dog. By the way, Seattle re-signing Gabby Williams, the French superstar who balled out for France in the Paris Olympic Games. She played with Seattle last season. Donnie always said, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And sometimes even if you cheat, it's not going to matter. Yannick Sinner testing positive twice for an anabolic steroid back in March, never suspended. He just won in Cincinnati. He's one of the favorites to win the U.S. Open, which starts on Monday.
Yeah, blame it on everything. Blame it on the masseuse here. If you're a boxer, just say you ate some tainted meat in Mexico. Everybody looks the other way. Why? Because it's about money. It doesn't serve any purpose to suspend the world's #1 player. So just let him get away with anything. Cheat to win, kids. It's the way to do it in this society.
Jerry Jones saying there are promising talks between the Cowboys and TD. Time to cough up. He might be. More on the early line next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
National Football League headlines around training camp as we approach the regular season, just 2 weeks and 1 day away from the season opener on Thursday, September 5th, inside Arrowhead Stadium, a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game between the Chiefs and the Ravens. Speaking of a championship game, but in the other conference, will the Dallas Cowboys ever get back to the NFC title game? I'll tell you one thing that would help: signing CeeDee Lamb. Jerry Jones, who likes to talk in front of microphones, continued to do that yesterday. All talk in terms of having promising talks with CeeDee Lamb in progressing to a new contract as the star wideout for Dallas continues his holdout from training camp. Reportedly, the Cowboys had offered CeeDee Lamb a $33 million per year salary. That would make him the second highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League, but still backed by $2 million per season behind Justin Jefferson. And I think CeeDee Lamb has every right to argue he should be paid like Justin Jefferson. He is as prolific as Justin Jefferson, a fellow first-round draft pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. So, Donnie, do you put any stake into what Jerry is saying, that they're having, quote, promising talks with CeeDee Lamb's representation?
Like, I mean, you had like 6 to 8 months at this point to have those promising talks. And CeeDee Lamb, this is what I love about the Dallas Cowboys, too, is it's very rare that I come on because I'll look at Jamar Chase in Cincinnati and say, if he doesn't show up in week number 1, you still got T. Higgins, you still got Burrow. It's like, you know what, they could probably manage here. You take a look at the San Francisco 49ers, Ben, and you say to yourself, Brandon Ayuk, if he doesn't show up in week number 1, you know what, they'll probably be fine and they can certainly manage. Like, I feel like CeeDee Lamb has such a leveraged position with the Dallas Cowboys because honestly, and I understand one player doesn't make an entire season, but I feel like CeeDee Lamb shows up. You pencil them in for 10 wins on the season. You pencil them in for fighting the Philadelphia Eagles with the NFC East Championship and maybe winning a playoff game or 2, which, you know, winning 2 of those is pretty unlikely. But you feel me on this? If he doesn't show up week number 1, why does it feel like the Cowboys are a 7-win football team? It just feels that way. Like, if I'm CeeDee Lamb's management, I go, you know what? I told you I wanted Justin Jefferson money. Now I want Dak Prescott money at this point. And I feel like it's almost like the Cowboys have to pay him. Like, for one, outside of just like Patrick Mahomes not showing up, we understand. Or even like Dak Prescott, because the quarterbacks we know are certainly more important than other positions on the field. But if you just say CeeDee Lamb takes the Le'Veon Bell strategy, I'm just not playing this year, it feels like all hope is lost for the Dallas Cowboys. They better pay him and pay him a lot and pay him sooner than later to get him back in that lineup.
I completely agree, DRS. There is not going to be a big market mover or a change on a team's roster than the quarterback spot. And you can argue what Dak Prescott's ceiling is in terms of playoff success for Dallas, but there's no doubt he's one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the National Football League, who has been the starter at the Star for 8 consecutive seasons in large part. I would still argue, however, that CeeDee Lamb is by far the most important player on offense outside of the quarterback spot. And I'm not sure what the reason is for the move. Dak Prescott is at training camp, although he needs a new contract or he enters the final year of his current deal with the Cowboys. But we have seen market movement against the boys all offseason, when really the only move that should be happening, barring a devastating injury, is positive movement, because the betting public is feeling the optimism on betting your price to win a division, to go over your win total, to maybe finally compete for a conference championship. But in fact, Dallas now tied for the 4th best price around the NFC at 8-1. Earlier this offseason, it was a 6-1 price. The Eagles have moved well in front of Dallas in both the NFC East and NFC Championship markets. I completely agree, Donnie. I believe CeeDee Lamb is a huge leverage point and a huge changer of Dallas's outlook this season. Now we go to our weekly Jets update. This from the mouth of Aaron Rodgers yesterday, but it was strictly about football, saying the Jets have made this one of the hardest training camps he's had in maybe close to a decade in terms of how many reps they're doing and what they are doing. It is hard, Aaron, when you show up to practice, and I guess he's finding that out.
Yeah, and granted, this is what the Jets need. It's not as if you're saying, like, well, hold on. The Jets have been to the playoffs 16 out of the last 17 straight years. We deserve to have some time off because that's what works. Apparently not making the playoffs is what's actually the Jets' MO. So maybe changing things up and working a little bit harder in the preseason here to get that team ready for week number 1 is what you need. And also, Aaron Rodgers didn't play a lot of football or take a lot of reps last year. He needs those extra reps, and I understand he knows the playbook. It's Nathaniel Hackett. He's already been there a season, but those reps on the field are valuable in training camp, and they're getting those now. So I like actually hearing this. Hey, man, this has actually been a hard training camp. You think you're trying to make the playoffs for the first time in a decade and a half at this point? It better be hard.
And, Donnie, I joke about Aaron Rodgers showing up to practice, of course, because he missed mandatory minicamp, but I actually do think this is a positive thing, and the sentiment around the comment was not, man, they're really working me like a dog. It was, hey, it's good that I am out here to gain these reps, to gain this experience with a team and a roster I haven't really had many game reps with. This finally a positive sign of football terms for the New York Jets this offseason and training camp. We shared yesterday Tua Tagovailoa's strong comments on the difference of mentality between current head coach in Miami, Mike McDaniel, and his former head coach who was there to start off his NFL career, Brian Flores, who is now the defensive coordinator with Minnesota. Flores had a response and was asked about this after practice for the Vikes yesterday, saying, quote, "Look, I'm human. That hit me in a way that I would not say was positive. I've got to use that and say, how can I grow from that? How can I be better?" I thought it was a refreshing take. And Flores also added, "I wish Tua nothing but the best. Right now, I am focused on the 2024 Vikings."
Yeah, I wish he would have went out to a bar and had a beer with Brian Flores and got the actual real response, what he probably wanted to say to that question about Tua Tagovailoa. Sure. But you do have to learn from your mistakes here. He'll never be a head coach again in the NFL because of that relationship, and he probably understands that at this point. So happy with being a defensive coordinator and away he goes. But I didn't get much out of that other than I was waiting for the admission, yeah, that was me. I don't like that guy. I still think he stinks, but he's making a lot of money. Good luck to him. I got a defense to run here.
Listen, I don't think Tua's comments were all that inflammatory. He did not think very fondly of Brian Flores, but I thought his transparency was worth it. I think Brian Flores' response in return to what Tua had to say, also very fair, hoping to grow from it, from that mentality, understanding what his players needs outside of the X's and O's. X's and O's, those are letters. So is QR code. What is Oklahoma State doing this year in football? Find out next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
I am very excited to get the reaction to this big college football story that hit the wire yesterday from my co-host, Donnie Rightside. Oklahoma State announcing that ahead of the 2024 college football season, the Cowboys are going to wear QR codes on their helmets that links directly to the team's general NIL fun. So Ollie Gordon II breaks off a 65-yard touchdown run. You try to zoom in on the back of his helmet there on the field in Stillwater and maybe send in $25-50 to help Oklahoma State football in the future. DRS, what was your take on what the Pokes are doing in 2024?
execution gets an F for this because, I mean, have you ever been to a restaurant? Let's just say, like, some of the restaurants now, we've all been out to eat. Like, you can actually pay the bill on, like, the QC code, like, that's now on, like, the table itself, which I think is pretty innovative. It's pretty fun, and it's easy to do, QR code. But let me tell you something. How many times have you taken out your phone to try to get that code, and it just doesn't log into your phone? So now I'm supposed to wait for a guy's helmet to appear on the field. And here's the worst part about it. It goes into the collective here. Like, if Ollie Gordon busts an 80-yard run to go over his touchdown prop for me and scores, I would like to give him the 25 or 50 bucks if I was going to donate it, not into the general fund itself. So the execution is poor. Now, if they really wanted to get good with the networks, like the Big 12, who's their network? They have is it Fox? Like, who's their primary network? ESPN?
They have a partnership with both ESPN and Fox, yes.
All right, so let's just go. It's on ESPN on a Saturday night. Like, wouldn't it make more sense that touchdown, like, the NFL pops up touchdown, I don't know, Cooper Kupp. Like, it should pop up touchdown, Ollie Gordon with the QR code on the screen for like 15 to 20 seconds. Like, if you want to do something that's actually impactful, that makes sense. It's like when you watch the Colorado Buffaloes practice. Hey, man, I got your Instagram account on the back of your jersey. I guarantee you not one person has searched any one of those players out trying to find out what their name is on the back of their jersey. Let's have better execution. And also, individually here, that's what the NIL is. I want to donate directly to the guy that helped me win a wager if I so choose, not just in some general fund where the backup punter got that money when the running back was cashing tickets. How about that?
It's really for the betterment of the program, right? Alan Bowman throws a 70-yard snipe. You want to give the 24-year-old some money as he will probably be working in corporate America starting next year. Then you zoom in on the QR code and you say, hey, Alan, here's $20 to a down payment for your new house when you get into the working world starting in 2025. Not, hey, Alan, good touchdown toss. Here's $25 to the Cowboys, where you will not be next year. It is tough. It did lead to some very humorous memes and images yesterday on social media. I appreciate the evolution of college football, that we are just advertising the fact that we can donate money to help the betterment of our favorite program. But again, the execution is going to be tough. You know who I feel for? The reserves on the sideline for the Cowboys. Because you know now that throughout all 60 minutes in all four quarters, their helmets are going to be on. Because that's going to be the easiest way. They are stopped. They are still. They are just standing there. That is going to lead, I think, to the most QR code snaps and donations. Normally, they could have those helmets off in the hot Oklahoma early days of fall. Not anymore. Mike Gundy's making sure those pokes keep the lids on the sideline would be my guess.
You know, now see, look, this dates me back to the 90s. Hear me out, because you would have seen me running amok with this, because here's what I would have done. Everybody has their own individual QR code on their helmet. You know what I'm doing, Ben. I'm messing with the QR code of my boys here. Starting quarterback here throwing touchdown passes. Man, had a great game. Nobody donated to me. Then he tries to put the phone on his helmet, and it just goes and says incorrect. It doesn't work because I scratched out part of the QR. Like, it would be madness if I was running wild. Or maybe I would just change everybody's code to my code. Like, hey, I got a couple grand from that game, and nobody else got paid. Why? Every single code was mine. I'd run amok with this right now. I really would.
Should we put the SportsGrid app QR code on the helmet of the Oklahoma State Cowboys?
No,
that way
that
we
QR
put it up
code
there,
should go right to my Venmo account. That should be right to my Venmo account right there. Like, anybody that donates, it goes to Donnie Rightside. That would be very good for my household. By the way.
So not the betterment of the SportsGrid network and making sure that everybody has access to the app. You want your own? You have a Venmo? You have a Venmo?
I actually do have a Venmo, but I prefer PayPal. So how about that? Yeah, no Cash App. Come on now. PayPal was the originator. Stay with it, people. Stay with it.
No. Venmo's the way to go.
No
Does
Zelle.
PayPal have QR codes or no?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. Does it? It probably does now. It has to, right?
But I do like how the gears are turning right now to think what we can individualize with these QR codes, what it could mean for us and Oklahoma
Win about
State
on the air, put the code up. Boom.
There you go. More MLB recaps. They come your way next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
A very full Tuesday card around Major League Baseball yesterday. Marquee matchups in both leagues where everything now has a focus and a tie to divisional races around Major League Baseball and playoff positioning for October. We start in the Bronx, an American League matchup between the two top teams in the league as of yesterday, with some shifting spots following Tuesday night. The longest game of the year in this Major League Baseball season in 2024. Last night inside Yankee Stadium between those Yankees and the Cleveland Guardians. 3-3 after regulation, 3-3 entering the 12th inning. The Guardians score 6 in the top of the 12th. The Yankees tried to rally, plating 2 in the home half of the inning, but Cleveland takes the opener of this marquee midweek set in the Bronx, 9-5 yesterday over the Yanks. New York was a minus 154 home money line favorite. Total was 8 DRS. As you shared earlier, in regulation, only 6 combined runs. You were feeling pretty good. Of course, it skies over because of that 12th inning.
Yeah, and also it feels like the worst case nightmare came true for the New York Yankees, which sometimes teams do factor in and say other guys have to perform. You saw Soto and Judge go yard early. You take the 2-0 lead.
Yeah.
Now, should 2 runs be enough for a full 9-inning game? No, it's not. But you want to tack on here, and you let Cleveland get back in the ballgame and eventually take that 3-2 lead before it tied up at 3-2. But look at the roster itself for the Yankees. Gleyber Torres, 0-4. Let's remove Judge and Soto, who had the home runs. Behind him, Giancarlo Stanton, 0-3. Then you had pinch hitting here for Grisham. He was 0-2. And right behind him was Alex Verdugo for an 0-6. Like, if the MO is out there, let's just not pitch to Judge or Soto. People have to step up behind them. That's what you get paid to do, and you should love to be in that spot. Now, every time I come up, Ben, the pitcher's going to be working out of the stretch because there will be guys on base with high leverage situations for me to hit. But if you're going to have your 2 superstars hit home runs and nobody do anything, you're going to find yourself on the losing end of it like you saw yesterday. The Yanks should have won that game. Luis Gil's on the mound, one of your quote-unquote better pitchers here, now struggling from time to time, which is not a good sign for the Yankees down the stretch. But that's what I took away from the game. That's a great win for the Cleveland Guardians. Every win for them is huge, particularly against a team like the New York Yankees, which you're fighting with now for that number 1 overall seed in the AL. But from a Yankees perspective, this is what I worry about. My superstars performing, but nobody chipping in behind us.
Yeah, that is an issue. Juan Soto now 35 home runs this year. Aaron Judge leads all of MLB with 45 home runs this year. Aaron Judge is now batting .332. He is also ahead in that Triple Crown race at this moment. Best batting average in the American League, most home runs, and the most RBIs, 114 at this moment with 3 ribbies yesterday. That is what Aaron Judge, or not 3 ribbies, but yeah, 3 ribbies for Aaron Judge yesterday. But that is the issue, DRS, outside of what New York had at the dish yesterday. It was also Luis, don't call him you-know-what, heel, our guy on the bump, leaving in the 4th inning for the Yanks due to back tightness. So Cleveland wins a big one, and they had been swept over the weekend by Milwaukee. This Guardians team, Donnie, has been incredibly streaky here in the month of July, late July into now August. They were swept over the weekend by the Brewers. They entered the weekend in Milwaukee, winners of 5 straight. Prior to that, it was a 7-game losing skid. Then to end out July into early August, a 5-game win streak. Have the Guardians started a new win streak with the victory yesterday over New York. And here's the ramifications of it as we tie it into the American League pennant odds. So the Yankees fall back by a half game in the American League East. Baltimore victorious yesterday, also in New York, but over the Mets 9-5. So the O's have the best record in the AL East and a half-game advantage over the Yankees. The Guardians, now the best record technically in the American League. They have 1 less loss, but 1 less win than that of Baltimore. And they also have the tiebreaker at this moment as the Guardians have won the season series against the O's, taking 4 of 7 games. So that really is where the chase is at this moment. The Yankees remain the favorites for the American League pennant. The Orioles have that second best price. The Astros did lose yesterday to the Red Sox, but still that third best number. And the Guardians move up the board ever so slightly, a 6-1 price.
Yeah, look at that 70-win club here in the AL. It's the Guardians at 73 wins, 74 wins by the Baltimore Orioles, then the Yankees, Twins, and Royals coming in 73, 70, and 70 respective. The interesting part's going to be is, let's just say the Guardians do take down that number 1 overall seed. Boy, the biggest loser probably is going to be the Orioles or the Yankees, who don't claim that AL East title at this point. So it is something to watch. And nobody's written off the Guardians. Nobody's written off the Orioles or the Yankees, but it's just kind of interesting to see, like, the Kansas City Royals. It's not insurmountable to have a 3.5-game lead, meaning that they're going to have to overtake the Guardians and maybe even the Minnesota Twins in order to get there. But just seeing those numbers on, hey, thinking about the Royals, like, let's just say we're always talking about the Orioles and the Yankees for primarily the season. Oh, they must have like a 5 or 6 or 7-game lead over like some of those other teams like the Twins or Royals. That's not the case here. This is going to be such an interesting drive to see who actually takes it down, because you're right, Ben. Look at the top 4 seeds. I shouldn't say top 4 seeds. Top 4 teams in the American League based on winning percentage.
Yeah.
Winners are 6-4 in their last 10, 5-5, 5-5, and 5-5. It's not like these teams are red hot down the stretch. They're just treading water right now. So if you can get hot behind those teams, you can really make up some ground.
The Pinstripes just 8-8 here in the month of August. The Orioles are now 9-8 in the month of August. Everybody has been pretty mediocre since the All-Star break, except the teams in the National League. And I guess the Astros have been darn good, especially here in August. The Yankees yesterday were an odds-on favorite to be the number 1 seed in the American League. Still the favorites at plus 120, but the O's back by only 40 cents at plus 160. Cleveland up the board from a 5-1 number to plus 350. To see that much market movement based on one game, a Tuesday night, out of 162 in Major League Baseball tells you the time of year it is in the bigs and how tight the races are in a variety of components around the American League. Now let's go to the NL East, where the Phils still maintain a 6-game lead in the division over the Atlanta Braves, but the Braves win Game 1 of this marquee midweek set out in the ATL. Reynaldo Lopez makes his first start since July 28th. And he looked the part of what we have seen all year long. 5 innings of work, only allowing a single earned run in striking out 10. The ERA drops to 2.03. It was 2.06 entering yesterday. He's not going to meet the inning requirement for that minimum this year. If he does, he's going to have the best ERA in baseball. The Phils now DRS 8-9 in August. They've still won 4 of their last 6, but the offense stifled by Lopez and our guy Grant Holmes behind him.
Yeah, just disgraceful here, certainly from the first three hitters in that lineup. Schwarber 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts. Congratulations on the sombrero. Trey Turner 0 for 4, Bryce Harper 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. You're not going to win very many games when guys of that ilk aren't performing. But also, it wasn't as if Ronaldo Lopez went 9 innings and struck out 10. Right around one an inning. Okay, that's a great performance. 5 innings pitched, 10 Ks, which again, the average would be 2 strikeouts per inning. What the heck are the Phillies doing? Like, I understand that they're not really getting pressured technically here, but you lose a couple more games to the Braves, then you're going to start to feel it. This team is way too good to be floundering. I understand you can't be on that historic win pace of 115 or 120 games. Not very many teams in baseball do that. Maybe once every 50 years, somebody's going to approach that level of winning. But if we're looking at just from, you should be beating these teams. And this isn't like, hey, you know what? We're catching the Braves at the right time. They're all healthy and their aces on the mound. This is a triple-A lineup they're putting out and beat you 3-1 yesterday with a pitcher just coming off the IL. And you know he was going to be on limited pitches here and probably wouldn't pitch late into that ball game. Embarrassing effort with your ace on the mound. Give him a couple runs, win that baseball game, put the Braves away. Unacceptable.
Yeah. The Phils were greater than $1.50 favorite on the road because of Zach Wheeler, but also because of the questions around Reynaldo Lopez. 6 innings of work for Wheeler, 2 earned runs, did not walk anybody, and struck out 8. He was pretty good, just had no offense to back him up yesterday. Marcell Ozuna, that second earned run that Wheeler allowed, a solo shot in the home half of the 6th, that was the difference. Lopez's first start in nearly a month. He threw 90 pitches yesterday, so only 5 innings of work. And that's not necessarily not the standard for Lopez. He's only gone more than 6 innings twice this year. That's pretty much what he does. Elsewhere around the National League, and plenty more MLB recaps from Tuesday next year on the Early Line.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
Live right here on this Wednesday on the Early Line on SportsGrid. More recaps around Major League Baseball from a jam-packed Tuesday slate. We go late night to L.A., where things seemed off to a good start for Seattle. They had an early 3-0 lead, but the Dodgers do answer. For the second consecutive game in the same inning, both Gavin Lux and Max Muncy hit a home run. That happened in the fourth. And then late in the game in the home half of the eighth, Jason Hayward in as a pinch hitter for the Dodgers, and Dave Roberts, a 3-run home run that was the deciding play. 6-3 the victory for LA yesterday over Seattle. They were booked as a -142 home money line favorite. A total of 8.5 does trickle over. The Dodgers have won both of the first 2 games against the Mariners here to start off this series. LA 19-11 since the All-Star break. 8 wins in the last 11 games for the Dodgers.
Like, I get upset being like a Philadelphia Phillies fan and try to watch some of these efforts where, like, there's a lot of talent in the baseball team. They don't score runs. But if you are, like, Godspeed if you are a Mariners fan. What are you watching on a night-to-night basis, knowing that your team stinks at the plate just about every single night? Winnable games turn into losses because you just can't score. You had a 3-0 lead in this game after 3 innings. You know what? Looks like we're going to be able to easily win this. You don't score the rest of the way. And, of course, that potent Dodgers lineup sooner than later is going to score some runs at least to surpass you. They end up getting 6. The Mariners end up getting 3. It's so demoralizing because if you are looking at the Mariners, the way the season began, the way the season was around that All-Star break, and the way it looks now is you should have run away with that division because the Rangers never got it together. The Astros were dead in the water, and then you have the Oakland Athletics and the Angels behind them that aren't going to challenge you. And you sit here today with a 64-63 record with that pitching staff because you can't hit the baseball. It's unbelievably astounding. Credit the Los Angeles Dodgers, ultra talented. Eventually, as I said, they're going to score runs. But boy, my focus right now is on the Mariners. They tried to get some bats at the deadline, and you take a look in that lineup and you say, you know what, Randy Rosarena, let's move you around now. Instead of the top of the order, we'll move you to the middle of the order. 0 for 3 once again, batting .213. It's disgraceful what the Mariners do at the plate.
The best batting average right now is Julio Rodriguez. He's batting .263, at least in the lineup that we saw yesterday for Seattle. The Mariners have now dropped 7 of their last 8 games. They are 12-16 since the All-Star break. It has not been good for the M's by any means, and now they're just a game above 500. For the Dodgers, Walker Buehler back on the bump last night. What his future is this postseason for L.A. probably remains a mystery. More so long relief would be my guess. 4 innings of work, allowing 7 hits and 3 earned runs. Jorge Polanco, by the way, all 3 RBIs accounted for yesterday for Seattle in those first 3 innings. Buehler more walks, 3 than strikeouts, only 1 against the M's. Mookie Betts back for L.A. RBI double in the home half of the 7th to tie the game up at 3. So the Dodgers now have the best record in the National League. Was not the case entering yesterday based on win percentage and the tiebreakers with Philadelphia. Both the Phils and the Dodgers, 52 losses, but now LA, 75 wins. In Philadelphia, only 73. So the Dodgers a game up for the number 1 overall seed in the National League, and the Dodgers remain the favorites at +160. The Phils still back by less than $1 at +250.
They're better than the Phillies right now, and that's certainly appropriate because you're looking at what the Dodgers can do where they're having off-pitching nights from pitchers, and it doesn't matter because the lineup rescues them. That's when I talk about the Phillies and get so frustrated with a loss yesterday. I understand you're facing a pretty good pitcher coming off the IL, and maybe you only get 1 or 2 runs there, but you can't get any off of the bullpen. You got your ace on the mound, and again, you're looking at the Phillies lineup that is healthy 1 through 9. They should be scoring runs at will every single night, regardless of the pitcher, exactly the way the Dodgers are doing here against the Mariners. They'll get another solid pitcher tonight, but you're trusting that lineup with Ohtani and Mookie Betts to move the needle here, and the rest of the guys can chip in. Like, when's the last time we watched a big Bryce Harper home run at this point? When's the last time we had a Schwarber to lead off the game? Those guys have to provide that offense early so the guys behind them, the Nick Castellanoses and the Bryson Stotts, can sort of get their own way. And it's almost like JT Realmuto's been on an absolute milk carton since he came back from injury on that knee. They better get it together and get it together soon. But I always say this. It's better to have your struggles about a month before the playoffs than wind up with this type of offense entering into the playoffs here. So there's still time. But if we're looking at the top of those standings, a lot of teams are hot, and the Phillies are not.
The Dodgers -120 now to have the number 1 seed in the National League. The Brewers also 73-52, a victory yesterday against the Cards. Milwaukee has a 12-game lead. Let me check that just to make sure. Milwaukee has an 11.5-game lead in the National League Central. Everybody else, the 4 other teams, 2 games below 500 or worse. American League Central, the Guardians win yesterday. Now a 3.5-game advantage as the Twins lose in San Diego and the Royals lose at home with Cole Reagans on the bump as a $2 favorite to the Angels. The Twins lose in San Diego because of Jurickson Profar and crew yesterday in San Diego. A 3-run shot in the home half of the 8th. Xander Bogaerts added on another RBI. The Padres pulled away for a 7-5 win. San Diego has won 13 of its last 16.
Yeah, I'm liking this team a lot. I really am. They got the frontline starting pitching, got the hammers in the bullpen here. They're getting clutch base hits. They're getting some young guys coming up from the minor league system, like a Jackson Merrill, providing that extra oomph for her. They had Juan Soto last year. They're not really missing him right now much at the plate, and you added Michael King in that trade and going down the stretch. That's going to be big. The NL West, man, with those 3 baseball teams at the top of the standings, jockeying for position, somebody's going to have to lose out, which means 2 of those probably will wind up in the wild card, obviously, with maybe the Dodgers winning that division. But if you're picking, I know we went over this a couple times, like the FanDuel Sportsbook, which actual division is going to win the World Series, and it looked like, hey, look at the Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies. Boy, it's really shifted out to the NL West now. That's the division you need to be paying attention to.
The Padres, a home underdog slightly yesterday. They win outright. The Orioles, a road underdog in Citi Field for the 2nd consecutive game. They played 9-5 the victory for the O's in Game 2 against the New York Mets. Jose Quintana, man, he has been struggling. 7 earned runs given up yesterday to Baltimore. He has allowed 19 earned in his 4 starts in August. The O's even up the series so far against the Mets, 9-5 with the win.
Yeah, but Quintana, one of those just slop left-handed pitchers out here, can try to fool you and get creative every once in a while. That slop ain't going to work, and it didn't yesterday. Santander with that long ball. Boy, has he been hammering the baseball lately, BWS.
37 home runs for Anthony Santander. That's 3rd most in Major League Baseball. More MLB recap that continues next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
So the San Diego Padres have won 13 of their last 16. They're 22-6 since the All-Star break. The Dodgers have won 8 of their last 11 and maintained that 3-game lead in the National League West. And the Arizona Diamondbacks, despite getting swept over the weekend in Tampa, also finding ways to win. The D-backs 3-1, the win yesterday in Miami over the Marlins. They were booked as a road favorite, -132. They make good on that ticket. 2 straight wins in Miami after losing all 3 to Tampa. So the Diamondbacks, despite getting swept by the Rays this weekend, have still won 13 of their last 18 games.
Yeah, not even a great performance out of them. Only 3 runs at the plate here, but when you hold the Miami Marlins there to 1, that's all that matters. It's a 2-run victory. If we're looking at the offense, which usually is so prolific for Arizona, only 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position, didn't do a lot of damage, but they did that damage early to take the lead. First inning, what do you like? Pop a home run there, Corbin Carroll gets it started, and away you go. That's a good victory for the Arizona Diamondbacks, even because you're playing in atmospheres now, like Tampa Bay. That's just a terrible place. No atmosphere whatsoever. Miami, there's probably more ball players in the stadium than fans itself. You take those wins, Ben, any way you can get them away from home, man.
Yeah, big time for the D-backs, of course, who made that run in October to a National League pennant and a World Series appearance. You might be thinking, hey, they were probably red hot to end last year as well. Good in the month of September. Only 12-15 in August last year for the Diamondbacks. Still more in August to go. They're 13-5 this month. So let's look at the wild card chase in the National League. The Padres -4,500 to make the postseason. They have a substantial lead for that top spot, a game over Arizona. But both of those teams' DRS right now well in front of the Atlanta Braves, who are -520. The Braves a win yesterday. The Mets a loss yesterday at home. The New York Mets now trail Atlanta by 2.5 games for the 3rd and final National League wildcard position.
Yeah, you're looking at the top 2 teams in those standings here, the Padres and the Diamondbacks. Looks like they're healthy, they're rolling, they're ready to go. It almost feels like they've solidified themselves as playoff teams. Now, you take a look at the Braves, the Mets, and the Giants basically right now. If the season ended today, it would be the Braves. But even if you're the Braves, like, hey, good, we got a 2.5-game lead, stay in this, everything is fine. But you see all of those injuries that they have. It's like every day is not a given where we just show up at the ball yard and we're the better baseball team. You picked up a victory against the Phillies yesterday. Once again, it's AAA lineup. Can you expect that lineup to perform on a night-to-night basis and give you victories if you're only scoring 2, 3, or 4 runs a night? That's who I worry about. It's up to the Mets and the Giants to try to overtake the Braves, because the Braves technically, even though they're still in it and in the playoff race, feel like they're going to be limping to the actual finish line, where if you're the Mets and the Giants, can you take advantage of that?
But still greater than a $5 price for the Atlanta Braves to see the NL postseason. The Giants have won both of their 2 games this week, as you should, against the White Sox. They are not going down just yet. 3.5-game difference for the 3rd and final spot in the American League wildcard chase. The Red Sox trailing the Royals, but Boston making up some ground yesterday. A late victory in Houston. The Astros walked it off on Monday night. Boston responds with an 8th-inning home run out of Jarren Duran, who was 4 for 4 at the dish yesterday with the home run and a couple of ribbies. 6-5 the victory for the Red Sox.
Got to beat the teams that are ahead of you here. And even if we think the Houston Astros are going to win that division, still 2 American League teams battling for playoff positioning here. Boston now with 66 wins on the season. But I told you, I love that lineup, man. It just is so much fun on a night-to-night basis to bet. That's a nice victory that you pick up. If you're even taking a look at the pitching matchup yesterday, Pivetta, 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs given up, and you still won that baseball game. Boy, you love to see that, man. You do.
Yeah, a big victory for Boston. And because the Royals, as a $2 favorite at home in Kauffman, lost to the Angels 9-5, that is only a 3.5-game difference now in the American League wildcard chase. KC entered winning 5 in a row. They lost yesterday 9-5, a total of 8 going over.
Yeah, Anderson, how about this? 6 innings pitched, 12 hits, and 5 earned runs, and they won that baseball game, because sometimes your offense just has to rescue the starting pitching. I don't know if we expected that many runs yesterday overall. Both teams with a lot of runners in scoring position able to cash in. One thing I wish would have happened yesterday is, our guy in the middle of that lineup, Bobby Witt Jr., 3 hits, or 3 out of 5 at the plate, 2 runs and an RBI, but I needed the home run here. He's hitting .352 on this season, man. What a kid, man. What a player.
Yeah, Bobby Witt Jr. doing some very big
Man, oh,
things
man.
right now for Kansas City. The Milwaukee Brewers have an 11.5 game lead in the National League Central. The Cardinals are now back by 12 games. Everybody else in the division outside of Milwaukee is 2 games below 500 or worse because the Redbirds have lost 7 of their last 8, just 5-12 in August. Got dicey late. Devin Williams works out of a bases-loaded jam in the top of the 9th. More on the early line up next.